From Hollywood. Welcome to the Rat's Ass Podcast with Mojo Elliott.
All right, what do you say we start the show off today with a little bit of a fit check? Today, I'm only wearing my leather Tarzan loincloth for you. Oh, yeah. How's that for a visual, baby? From the Mojo studio on Sunset and Vine overlooking the Sea of Crazy. Prepare yourselves for another action-packed adventure.
Let's do it.
Here's what's on tap on the wrap. I have some advice for ICE and a question for the useful idiots. Trump is giving Obama a big old middle finger, and I'll tell you how. Hey, Chubby, Maha is coming for your Pop-Tarts and Twinkies. What are you going to do about it? Ever wonder what men expect from women today? Stand by. And you don't want to miss the adventures of my neighbors, Skeeter and Scooter. These guys are nuts. Another round of head trauma is on the way. Who's up for a round of total recall today? Plus our usual lunacy and loose behavior, including I Saw It on the X and What Say You? That's what's happening on the Rat's Ass Podcast for Monday, January 12th. Thank you for making a pit stop here. It's just reading about Led Zeppelin. Releasing Led Zeppelin 1 on January 12th, 1969. That was 56 years ago. But it changed the world of rock forever. That is 45 minutes, 9 songs of nonstop rocking out with your junk out, man. Maybe you should play it just for memory's sake today. All right, Radio Wars 2026 is underway on the Rat's Ass Podcast blog. This year, it's me against the top 50 rockers in America, and so far, thanks to you, I'm 2-0 with a new battle ready to go on ratsasspodcast.com. You can check it out and cast your vote. Okay, you got Hour A, Hour B. One is mine. Hour 2 is KLOS in Los Angeles this week. Thanks to you, I took down our champion from last year, WCMF in Rochester, New York, and WAXQ in New York City. I take no pride in beating New York City. That is a stanky radio station. But anyway, thank you so much for the 2-0 start. But now you get to go put me up against my hometown radio station, KLOS. All right, let's get into the wrap. There is so much BS going on in the world right now. I could probably do an 8-hour podcast about it, but I try to keep it under 25, 30 minutes. So I'm just going to basically scratch the surface here for you. I mean, they don't make enough frickin' aspirin to talk about all this stuff. But you know what? We can't get away from the shooting in Minnesota that took place, taking the life of Renee Good by an ICE agent. And I'm not going to take sides on this because there's enough blame to go around. Now, Democrats are dug in, Republicans are dug in, so let the libertarian put a spin on this for you, all right? I choose to wait until all the evidence is in and the investigation is done before I really comment on this. But I think those of us with sound minds and bodies can agree at no time will a human being standing in front of a car that weighs a ton or 2 tons stop it when the driver decides to punch the gas pedal. Anyone who chooses to stand in front of an automobile at this time should expect to get crushed. Okay, now with this in mind, I have some advice for ICE. The next time a useful idiot uses their car to block your pathway, why don't you use 2 of your vehicles, one to block them in the front, one to block them in the back, and arrest them? And if they do manage to pull away, maybe shoot at the tires first and the driver second. I could be wrong because I'm not in that situation and I'm not a law enforcement officer, but it sure makes sense to me. Now, here's the question I have for the Democrats and their useful idiots. Why on God's green earth would you take up a cause for politicians who aren't willing to stand on the front lines with you? Standing in front of a camera while you're risking your life on the streets isn't standing with you. It's standing behind you. So why would you put your life on the line when Tim Walz and Jacob Fry or any other political figure is sitting safe in their office protected by law enforcement? Leaders stand with, not behind their supporters. Now think about this. While you're out there fighting for what you feel is the good fight, Tim Walz is doing fit checks on social media. And this is why you're considered to be useful idiots, by the way. I want you to take your emotions out of the equation and ask yourself if what you're doing is a just cause. Or are you being used by a political machine that will discard you the second you're no longer useful? Do you think Tim Walz or Jacob Fry are going to do anything for Renee Good's family? Let me answer that for you. Hell no. Now, if you ask Renee Good's wife, was it worth it? Was it worth leaving your kids behind, crossing state lines to go screw with law enforcement? Was it worth it or not? What do you think she would say? What do you think she would say? All right, Donald Trump is busy. Busy man, giving Barack Obama a ginormous middle finger. And I'll tell you why. You might not remember this, but I do. Barack Obama, on election night, November 2008, stood on a podium in Chicago Soldier Field and proclaimed, "Change has come to America," meaning he was fundamentally going to change the United States and what it had stood for since 1776. Liberty and justice for all. Now, if you look at how the United States has changed over the past 18 years, this is what Obama's fundamental change has been about. Remember all the pallets of cash Obama sent to Iran on his way out the door? Our tax dollars sent to Iran to prop up Islam? Everything Donald Trump is doing right now is reversing Obama's fundamental changing of America. That's what's really going on, in my opinion. This is Donald Trump telling Barack Obama and his fundamental changing of America to kiss his ass. End of story. Full stop. Robert Kennedy Jr. and Dr. Oz introduced a new food chart, and this is an attempt to make America healthy again. We are an obese nation because, we just can't put the frickin' fork down, folks. And the reason our health care is so expensive is because of this. I support this chart because I've been on this chart for about 10 years now, long before Maha put this chart out in front of you. And I'll tell you why. It recommends that you eat the way you're supposed to by focusing on fresh meat, vegetables, and fruit, all fresh. Now, I've told you this story before in the podcast, but it bears repeating. In 2005, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes because of my lifestyle choices. Too much alcohol, too much fast food because I was working 100 hours a week. I wasn't taking care of me. Okay, long story short, my doctor told me if I didn't change my lifestyle, I'd be dead within 5 years. So he said, your diet is simple. You have to eat as if you killed, caught, or grew it yourself, meaning the Maha food chart. Okay, everything fresh. No processed food, no bread, no dairy, no soda, nothing in a package, frozen or not. And if I didn't do this, again, I'd be dead within 5 years. Now, I had worked too hard to that point and had too much to live for to open the door to the Grim Reaper. Wasn't going to do it. So I followed the doc's advice. I went cold turkey on the diet, determined to stick to it. He told me I had to walk 30 minutes a day, a nice brisk walk. Okay, 6 weeks later, I dropped 37 pounds. I went from 215 to 178. No Ozempic, no drugs, just my metformin. Now, I'm 6'2". I carried 215 well. I was really shocked when I got this diagnosis. But it was my lifestyle. And I chose to drop the weight. Now I stay about 180. And that's what I weighed when I graduated from high school. Now I know if I did this, so can you. Because nobody didn't take care of themselves like me at that time. You know, it was nothing for me to line up 10, 12 shots of Jack Daniels and boom, 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 boom. Lay them out. Wouldn't even get a buzz from it, too, by the way. Yeah, so if I can do it, so can you. You know, endless amounts of pizza, Jersey Mike's, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, whatever was fast, I was jamming it in my mouth. I was also commuting 75 miles each way to work and doing a morning show. So I got about 4 hours sleep. That's never changed. I still only get about 4 or 5 hours of sleep. You know, what can I tell you? It's a strict diet, but it's well worth it, and it's good. After 30 days, you're so used to it, and you see the results. You don't want to turn back. Now, today, I'm pretty much 90% true to my diet. My A1C stays between 5.3 and a 5.7. This number will mean something to diabetics. Bottom line is, if you follow the new Maha health chart, you're going to be drop dead sexy before you know it. So give it a try. Relationships are more difficult today for some reason. I blame it on technology and social media. Now, I hear women say, I don't know what men want today. Well, let me tell you, according to a new study that was just released, there are 5 things men expect from women that they want to settle down with and start a family. Number 1, they want a partner, not a dependent. They want somebody who's equally educated, has a job and a career, bringing in the same amount of money. Number 2, they prefer a woman inexperienced sexually. Okay, you hear men talk about this all the time. Women want a man with $1 million home, $1 million bank account, a six-figure salary, and a $100,000 credit line. But what men are getting in return, they think, is just to use pussy. Okay, straight out. Number 3, shared values, politically and religiously. God, when I got married 40 years ago, politically, that didn't even enter in the equation. But today, I guess, it is so ingrained in our psyche that now politics and religion come into it. We didn't even think about religion, really, back then. But today, that's a third requirement. Number 4, individualism within the relationship, meaning that you can go have your own separate lives and not be joined at the hip. And when you're together, you enjoy yourselves, but you can still have separate lives. It works as long as you're willing to work at it. And number 5 is commonality. You want things in common. You don't want to find out after you've been married for a couple of years and have a few rugrats that you have nothing in common 18 years later, and you're like, who are you? Who are you? I don't know you anymore. So you want common things up front. That's what they're looking for. So what do you think, ladies? Too much to ask? Now, a couple of months ago, my neighbors from New York, Ted and Annette Fleming, moved in to the house across the street from me, and they have 2 7-year-old twin boys named Skeeter and Scooter. That's their nicknames. And we'll keep them, the real names private for their sake. But they're a couple of wild kids. Wild kids. Picture 2 identical blue-eyed, blonde-haired boys that are into everything outdoors. I mean, they always look like they need a bath. Now, I've noticed Skeeter tends to pick his nose a little bit, and Scooter, he scratches his butt a lot. I don't know what that's all about, but he's always digging for gold, man. But they're just very curious kids. Picture Macaulay Culkin and Uncle Buck. Okay, so when they see me working in the garage, they'll come over and start rattling off question after question about what I'm doing. And Friday, I was detailing my car after all the rain. And here comes Skeeter and Scooter wanting to know what I was up to. And suddenly, from out of nowhere during the conversation, unexpectedly, you're not going to believe this. And I'm having a hard time holding back the laughter right now. I really am. So give me a second to compose myself. Because it's funny. From out of nowhere, Scooter says, my mother's butt sounds like a trumpet. And Skeeter says, yeah, and her sister's got a little butt, and it sounds like a clarinet. Now, at this point, I'm seriously biting a hole in my lip to keep from busting out laughing like I am now. But then Scooter says, my grandmother has a big ass. And Skeeter finished his sentence saying, yeah, and it sounds like a tuba. Now, I don't know how two 7-year-old boys know what a clarinet, a trumpet, and a tuba sound like today. And it turns out Ted and Annette play wind instruments, apparently with their mouths and their butts. But it was like watching a comedy team playing off of each other. I mean, these 2 boys actually make me wish I had kids. I figure in 5 years I'll replace my gardener with them. But just looking at them, you can tell landscaping is in their future. No doubt about it. All right, brace yourselves for this week's What Say You, where I search social media to find other viewpoints besides mine. Meet Petty Crocker from InstaBitch.
You better buckle up, sugar tits, because I'm not here to negotiate, and I'm damn sure not here to be scared. This one is for every single one of you Democrats, every single one of you libtards, every one of you bought and paid for puppets that's out here doing this political theater for these scared elites that hide in their gated communities. Hear me loud and hear me freaking clear. This is coming from we the people. We've already seen this chaos play out once before. We watched it back in 2020. We watched cities burn. Lies get laundered through the media. We watch useful idiots get sacrificed while the people at the top never had to leave their mansions. You do not scare us. We know your tactics. We know the selective footage. We know the narrative before the facts. We know the outrage cycle, the chaos, and the cleanup that you never take responsibility for. And let me be so freaking crystal clear. This is not a threat. This is a promise of resolve. We are not flinching. We are not going to bat an eye. And we sure as hell ain't going to move not 1 inch. We, the American people, are standing lawfully, firmly, and unapologetically for our families, for our communities, and for our freaking country. You want to scream? Then go scream into the void. You want to posture? That's cute. You want to perform outrage for the cameras? Then have at it there, Cupcake. We've already seen what happens when you let chaos run the show, and we are done pretending it's progress. This country does not belong to the elites who hide. It does not belong to the politicians who don't even know the Constitution that they swore to uphold. And it sure as hell doesn't belong to the mobs that they push forward as disposable tools. This ain't 2020 anymore, there, sweet cheeks. The American people are awake, and we recognize the playbook. And this time, ho-ho, we are standing our ground.
Holy shit!
Oh my god, Mojo, somebody needs to get the hose and cool her down and put her back in a rage cage.
I don't know. I'm kind of spitting myself, you know.
Here's Mojo Elliott with his spin on sports on the Wrap.
All right, the NFL playoffs are off to a great start. We have 5 pretty good games yesterday. Moving on are the Rams, 49ers, Bills, Patriots, and Bears. Tonight, Houston plays the Steelers in Pittsburgh, and I've got Houston moving on. Thanks to Philadelphia, I went 4-1, so fuck you, Philly, over the weekend. Houston can potentially send Aaron Rodgers into retirement tonight, which wouldn't that be fun? Steelers say they want him back next year. But yeah, 4-1 over the weekend, thanks to Philadelphia. You Philly fans, my God. My God. Thank God you didn't grease a pole last night. Or maybe you did. NCAA College Football Championship happens next Monday between Indiana and the University of Miami. Now, the way I look at it, if Indiana loses this game, they beat themselves. This team is 2 together. I mean, my God. I am sold on Mendoza to the Raiders, by the way, with the number 1 pick. Okay, I don't watch a lot of college football, but I've watched Mendoza play a couple of games now. I am sold. And when I think about it, it's the pedigree. You know, I ask myself this question. Is Mendoza of the same pedigree as, say, Joe Burrow coming out of college? Trevor Lawrence, when he came out of Clemson. Is he the same pedigree coming out of college as, say, Drake May, maybe? And the answer to that is, here's a kid that is 16-0, wins the Heisman Trophy. I mean, if you're going to buy a horse, aren't you going to buy Secretariat, for crying out loud? That's why I think the Raiders would be nuts to trade this number 1 pick. They draft Mendoza, I guarantee you, ticket sales, season ticket sales, boom, in Las Vegas. All right, check in the chat box at ratsasspodcast.com. Chase Williams from Palm Springs, California said, help me understand why you think the Lakers should stand pat and not make a trade before the trade deadline on February 5th. Well, when the Lakers are healthy, Chase, meaning Reeves, Hachimura, are in the starting lineup with Luka, LeBron, and Ayton. They're 8-2. The bench is stronger with Smart, LaRavia, Vanderbilt, Hayes, Smith, and Vincent coming off the bench. That is a starting second team for a lot of teams in the NBA when you think about it. Not a very good one, but still, it could be a starting lineup for one of the lower-seeded teams. So I don't see the Lakers needing to make a trade because it's chemistry that wins basketball games. You bring somebody in new, it upsets the apple cart. They got to play 20 games to get to know each other, and that means seeding in the standings. Now, I know everyone is willing to sacrifice Vincent and connect for a superstar, but I don't think it's going to happen. This team needs to get and stay healthy to compete. Luke Delacruz, Scottsdale, Arizona. Spring training is a month away. Let's have some fun and hear who you predict will win the World Series next season. Luke, I try this every frickin' year, and I never get it right. So let's just go with my odds-on favorite this year, the Dodgers and Yankees, because they spend the most on talent. However, my long shots are going to be Cincinnati and Boston in a franchise rematch for 1976. That's what I hope for every year, because that was such a damn good... No, it was 1975. Pardon me. Got to correct myself. That was the 75 World Series. 76 was the Reds and the Yankees. Reds won both of those World Series. All right, that's my spin for you today on sports here on The Wrap.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, let's play a round of Total Recall. This is where I give you 4 historical events, and you have to put them in the order they happened, starting with the earliest. All right, event number 1, the book Forrest Gump was released. Fact 2, New Orleans Saints win the Super Bowl. John Lennon is murdered is fact number 3. And number 4, the Rodney King riots happen and break out in Los Angeles. All right, one more time. The book Forrest Gump was released. The New Orleans Saints win the Super Bowl. John Lennon is murdered in New York City. And Rodney King, the riots break out in Los Angeles. Think about it. We'll have the answer for you coming up on the podcast.
It's time for some loose behavior on the Rat's Ass Podcast.
Yes, it is. We haven't done this one in a while, so let's see what's happening on our X feed. Jelly Belly posted this one. What would you eliminate to make the world a better place? So I scrolled through and picked some of these out. I thought it was very interesting. Most of it was political leaning, but Becky Bowman said, the Democratic Party. Can't disagree with that one, Becky. Jake Snodgrass said career politicians, is covering all parties. I can't disagree with that one either. Michael Harvey said politicians posting on social media. That needs to happen. That really needs to happen. I mean, social media has become a propaganda machine for these folks, and it should be outlawed that politicians and anybody involved in D.C. politics, state politics, city politics, stay the hell off social media. That would be a nice thing. Lisa French said New York City. Well, you might get your wish, Lisa. Zoran Mam Dumbass is working on it for you. And there you have it, okay? That is your loose behavior. Now let's get into some celebrity cheese.
Hey, heads up. Here comes your celebrity cheese.
Yeah, I just said that. The Golden Globes took place in Beverly Hills last night. Do you want to hear one? Yeah, I didn't think so. Reports say attendance was down 51%, so if the Golden Globes are a precursor to the Oscars, there should be a lot of job openings for seat fillers this year. According to the headlines I read, there was a lot of Trump bashing, and a few headlines say there was a few people wearing the Be Good pins in support of late ICE activist Renee Good, thanks to Mark Ruffalo, who always finds a way to interject himself in these situations to have, look how noble I am in front of Hollywood, so he keeps working. But anyone who doesn't have their head shoved up their ass knows Ruffalo does this shit just to promote himself. Hailey Bieber is denying that she posted a fan video about abuse in her marriage to an addict, meaning Justin. Now, Haley claims it was bored fans who live on the internet attempting to label her as a tolerant codependent who accepts abuse in her marriage. Now, I got to tell you, I have a hard time with this one because Haley's dad is Stephen Baldwin, Alec's brother. Yeah, if Justin was physically abusing Haley, don't you think Stephen would kick Justin's ass up one side of the street and down the other? And let me just say, just because Justin wears a wife beater doesn't mean he is one. And you can forget about the rumors about Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani divorcing. In a recent interview, Blake Shelton vehemently denied that he and Gwen were going their separate ways. They're going to stick it out. These two in it together forever. Now, looking at Gwen, who's 56, I'd say that peach is going to be ripe for another 5 years.
There's just about enough of that.
And that is a stanky slice of celebrity cheese for you.
Who gives a rat's ass?
Rat's Ass Podcast. Email from our Gmail.
Hi, this is where anything goes when you send me your questions, comments, and observations to my producer, Fleabag, at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. Kurt C. in Bangor, Maine said, what's the one thing that'll guarantee a GOP win during the midterms? Well, eliminating mail-in ballots, enacting voter ID would help. But then it's the economy. It's always the economy. If it really takes off and starts blazing like Trump has predicted, I don't think the Democrats have a chance at the midterms. Roland N., Gulfport, Mississippi. I read your piece on the blog about tax the rich, and I have mixed feelings about it. Don't you think we have too many billionaires creating monopolies for themselves? Well, that wasn't the point of the piece, Roland, but to answer your question, yes, we have way too many monopolies in America. This country was built on competition. That's when capitalism works best, when there's competition. Okay, we got enough fast food frickin' competition in this country. We need a little bit more with other things besides just Amazon and eBay. And that's what keeps prices down, by the way, for everybody when you got competition. All right, Rob G. in Irvine, California. What are your thoughts about Tom Steyer running for governor of California? Well, Tom is another one of these billionaire environmental activists and a Democrat. Now, I hear activist and a Democrat with no money concerns, and to me, he's Gavin Newsom 5.0, so he's a big no for me. Susie B., Durant, Oklahoma, says, I have 5 rapid-fire questions for you, Mojo Man. Are you ready? Here goes. God, I love these. All right, number 1, blonde or brunette? Both. Number 2, boxers or briefs? I prefer the loincloth, as you know. Number 3, bath or shower? I'm a shower guy. And number 4, bowling or pickleball? I'll never play pickleball. Not if you put a gun to my head, so I'm a bowler instead. Foreign or domestic cars? I like both. I like both. I don't think there's anything wrong with either one. Yes, Fleabag, what? She wants me to pick either or. Well, I got that from the email, but I can't have a different opinion from just... all right, okay. Blonde or brunette? Blonde. Boxer shorts or briefs? I'm a boxers guy. Men will tell you why. I don't need to tell you. And foreign and domestic cars, I'm always going to go domestic, even though every frickin' car we drive out there on the street today, they all have foreign parts in them. So there's no real true foreign and domestic cars anymore. But if we're talking about badging, I'm always going to go American first. All right, Lonnie K., Everett, Washington. A girl I started dating about a month ago. Okay, this is going to be good. She has this guy friend who's always creeping around. She says he's gay and harmless, but I'm not convinced. How can I find out? If you're game for this one, Lonnie, invite him over. Invite him over to your house for a little chat and walk around naked. If he gets 10 hot, you're good. If he doesn't, then he's probably, trying to bang your chick. Okay?
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, today we're playing Total Recall. I gave you 4 historical facts to put in the order that they took place, starting with the earliest. So let's review again, shall we? The book Forrest Gump was released. The New Orleans Saints win the Super Bowl. John Lennon is murdered in New York City, and the Rodney King riots break out in Los Angeles. All right, did you put them in the right order? Let's find out. If you said John Lennon, Forrest Gump, L.A. riots, and the Saints win the Super Bowl,
Yeah, baby.
congratulations. But if you missed it, go see a doctor about your head trauma and get well soon. All right, that's about it for me. I've got hair reduction surgery later today, and I got to go warm up. But first, Alexa, is this real or riffraff? A new study shows that cancers may have more to do with lifestyle and not genetics.
Yes, studies show lifestyle choices play a role in getting cancer in 30 to 90% of the cases.
That is correct, but give us some examples.
Well, there's diet, smoking, weight, inactivity, alcohol, and listening to you.
Alexa, that last one is riffraff. Admit it.
Okay, that's true. Listening to you just causes headaches.
Do you want the muscle?
Don't you do it, psycho.
Psycho? Too late. Alexa, are you familiar with the band Motorhead? All right, welcome to Rat Nation, to all 637 members. Red Abernathy of Champaign, Illinois. Bernice Combs, San Antonio, Texas. Jason David of Bakersfield, California. Terry Blackman of Las Vegas, Nevada. And around the world to listeners in beautiful places across America and the world. Edmonton, Canada, Singapore, Sussex Inlet, Australia, and Tijuana, Mexico.
Now's your chance to be one of the few and the loud. Join Rat Nation at ratsasspodcast.com. Membership does have its rewards, you know.
All right, get the entire Rat's Ass Podcast experience at ratsasspodcast.com. You can listen to shows, read the blog. It's loaded with a lot of hot topicality. Watch and listen to Rat's Ass Rock TV on YouTube, including January. Join the family at Rat Nation, too, and connect with us on the socials. We'll do this again on Thursday, January 15th. Take care of each other, and thanks for stopping by the Rat's Ass Podcast. Now, in association with... I didn't say that right. In association with the Oz Podcast Group.
The conversation continues between podcasts on X and ratsasspodcast.com. ratsasspodcast.com.